Hank Williams, a name synonymous with country music, heartbreak, and timeless classics. His songs have echoed through generations, telling stories of love, loss, and the human experience. But behind the music lies a more haunting legacy. The very home where Hank once lived, now abandoned, forgotten, and frozen in time. Recently, the doors of his old cabin were opened to the public, and what was found inside has left fans and historians alike utterly heartbroken. Walking through Hank Williams' abandoned cabin is like stepping into a time capsule. Dust-covered furniture, faded photographs, and remnants of a life lived too quickly tell a story that no biography or documentary can fully capture. Every creaking floorboard and peeling wall whispers memories of a man who reached the heights of fame, yet struggled with personal demons that would ultimately define his tragically short life. For decades, fans have imagined Hank's life through his music, songs of heartache, longing, and fleeting joy. But seeing the cabin firsthand brings a raw, tangible reality to those stories. It's a stark reminder that fame cannot shield someone from loneliness, addiction, or the passage of time. The cabin, left untouched for years, reflects not just Hank's genius, but the isolation and sorrow that accompanied it. This isn't just a visit to a historical site. It's a journey into the soul of an American legend. The artifacts, the decay, and the silence all tell a story of brilliance, struggle, and ultimately heartbreak. Today, we'll explore what was discovered in Hank Williams' abandoned cabin, uncover the hidden stories behind each object, and reflect on the tragedy of a life that changed music forever and ended far too soon. Hank Williams is a name that instantly conjures images of cowboy hats, soulful twangs, and the kind of heartache that defined country music in the mid-20th century. He wasn't just a singer or songwriter. He was a storyteller, a poet whose life was as turbulent as the songs he left behind. Though his music continues to resonate, the physical spaces that shaped his life have largely faded into obscurity. One such space is his abandoned cabin, recently opened to the public for the first time in decades. As the doors creaked open, visitors were met with a scene frozen in time. The cabin, tucked away in the rural countryside, is small, humble, and unassuming, a stark contrast to the larger-than-life persona of Hank Williams. Dust covers the floors and furniture, cobwebs cling to the corners, and faded photographs hang crookedly on the walls, capturing moments of a life both ordinary and extraordinary. Walking through the space, it becomes immediately clear that this cabin was not just a home. It was a witness to brilliance, struggle, and heartbreak. Every object tells a story. An old, worn-out guitar rests against a chair, hinting at the countless hours Hank spent writing songs that would become timeless classics. Torn pages of handwritten lyrics lay scattered, a reminder of the man who poured his heart and soul onto paper. Even the simplest furniture, a small wooden table, a rickety chair, reflects the modest life he led, far removed from the fame and adoration that would come later. Historians and fans alike describe the experience as deeply emotional. It's one thing to listen to Hank's music or read about his life. It's another to physically step into the spaces where he lived, dreamed, and struggled. The cabin doesn't just preserve his belongings, it preserves his presence, the essence of a man who left an indelible mark on American culture in a tragically short life. Visitors often remark on the silence. Outside, the world is filled with noise, but inside the cabin there is only stillness, a haunting quiet that makes one reflect on the price of genius and fame. Hank's life was filled with highs and lows, moments of joy and deep sorrow, and every corner of this abandoned cabin echoes those emotions. Opening Hank Williams's cabin to the public is more than a historical event. It's an intimate encounter with the past. It allows fans to connect with the human side of a legendary figure, to see beyond the recordings and the accolades, and to witness the spaces where some of the most enduring country music of all time was born. As we move forward, we'll explore the most poignant discoveries within the cabin, uncover the hidden stories behind each relic, and reflect on how Hank Williams's abandoned home tells a story of talent, tragedy, and timeless artistry that continues to touch hearts around the world. Stepping further into Hank Williams' abandoned cabin, it becomes evident that every corner holds a story, some inspiring, others deeply heartbreaking. Beyond the music and fame, Hank's life was marked by struggles that often went unnoticed by the public. Addiction, heartbreak, and the relentless pressure of performing weighed heavily on him, and the cabin seems to silently carry those burdens. One of the most striking discoveries is Hank's old guitar, propped up against a worn chair. Its strings are rusted, and the wood bears the marks of years of use, yet it remains a powerful symbol of creativity. This was the instrument on which Hank poured out his emotions, crafting melodies that would later define an era of country music. The cabin holds the echoes of late-night songwriting sessions, moments of solitude, and the intense emotional release that only music could provide. Handwritten lyric sheets scattered across a small wooden table tell another story, one of vulnerability and genius. Some pages are smeared with ink, others torn at the edges as though reflecting the turmoil of the man who wrote them. Each song, each word was a glimpse into Hank's inner world, longing for love, wrestling with loneliness, and seeking solace in the music that became his lifeline. For fans, seeing these original writings is a haunting reminder that the songs they know so well came from very real pain. Even the smallest details of the cabin speak volumes. A chipped coffee mug on the counter, a faded photograph of a loved one, a worn-out coat hanging by the door. Each relic is a silent witness to a life lived with intensity and struggle. These ordinary objects, frozen in time, humanize a figure often mythologized. They remind visitors that Hank Williams was not just a legend, but a man who faced heartbreak, loss, and the challenges of his own making. Historians who recently examined the cabin describe the experience as deeply moving. The space doesn't just preserve material possessions, it preserves the aura of a man whose brief life shaped the future of American music. Walking through the cabin, one can almost feel the weight of his experiences. The highs of performing for adoring fans, and the lows of personal battles that ultimately led to his untimely death at just 29 opening. Hank Williams's cabin to the public is more than a historical exploration. It is a journey into the fragile humanity behind the legend. Each artifact, from musical instruments to personal mementos, paints a picture of a man torn between fame and personal demons, a man whose extraordinary talent could not shield him from life's hardships. As visitors leave the cabin, the silence lingers, leaving an indelible impression of genius intertwined with tragedy. It is a powerful reminder that behind every iconic figure lies a human story, often more complex and heartbreaking than the world ever sees. While Hank Williams' music immortalized him, the abandoned cabin reveals the human side of the man behind the songs. Fame often paints a glamorous picture, but Hank's life was anything but easy. The cabin, left untouched for decades, is a testament to his struggles. A quiet, haunting space that speaks to the pressures, loneliness, and heartbreak he endured. Inside, the faded photographs tell a story of personal connections, love, and family moments that often went unappreciated amid his rise to fame. These images, some barely legible with age, hint at a man who cherished relationships but struggled to maintain them under the weight of touring, public expectations, and personal demons. Every snapshot is a reminder that beyond the legendary voice and chart-topping songs, Hank Williams was a son, a friend, and a partner, someone whose human vulnerabilities are rarely discussed. Even the furnishings evoke the simplicity and hardships of his life. A small, worn-out bed in the corner, a cracked table with remnants of daily meals, and a few wooden chairs paint a picture of modest living conditions, starkly contrasting the mythologized image of the celebrity. Visitors often remark that the cabin's authenticity, its lack of embellishment, makes the heartbreak of his short life even more palpable. Here was a man who gave the world timeless music, yet lived a life stripped of comfort and stability. Perhaps the most poignant element is the silence that envelops the cabin. In a life defined by music and performance, the quiet emptiness of the space is almost suffocating. Walking through the rooms, it's easy to imagine Hank sitting alone, strumming his guitar, or writing lyrics that expressed pain, longing, and hope. These moments, so ordinary and human, are what make the cabin a profoundly emotional experience for fans and historians alike. The abandoned cabin also serves as a reflection on the cost of genius. Hank Williams's talent came at a price: personal struggles, isolation, and ultimately a life cut tragically short at just 29 years old. The artifacts in the cabin are silent witnesses to the highs and lows of his journey, reminding visitors that creativity and fame do not protect against life's hardships. Visiting Hank Williams' cabin offers more than a glimpse into history. It offers a chance to understand the man behind the legend. The space humanizes him, transforming the abstract myth into a tangible, emotional reality. It's a bittersweet experience, inspiring, heartbreaking, and deeply moving, that allows fans to connect with Hank's story in a way that music alone cannot convey. This cabin, once forgotten and left to decay, now stands as a powerful testament to the life of a man who gave everything to his art, even when life demanded more than he could give. It is here, in these quiet rooms, that the true tragedy of Hank Williams comes alive, a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between genius and humanity. As the exploration of Hank Williams' abandoned cabin concludes, one truth becomes abundantly clear: this space is more than a building. It is a living testament to the life, struggles, and extraordinary talent of a man whose influence on music is unmatched. Every creaking floorboard, every faded photograph, and every relic tells a story of genius intertwined with heartbreak, reminding visitors that behind the fame was a deeply human life, full of trials, triumphs, and tragedy. The decision to open the cabin to the public was not just about preserving history. It was about honoring Hank Williams's memory in a way that allows fans to truly connect with him. Unlike the glossy images and sanitized narratives often presented in media, the cabin shows authenticity. The worn furniture, the scattered lyric sheets, the rusted guitar strings all reflect the realities of his daily existence. These artifacts reveal a man who lived intensely, loved deeply, and suffered quietly, leaving an emotional imprint on every visitor who steps inside. Historians and music enthusiasts alike have described the experience as profoundly moving. The cabin bridges the gap between myth and reality, allowing people to witness the humanity behind the legend. It illustrates that while Hank's music immortalized him, it was the struggles and hardships of his personal life that infused his songs with emotion, authenticity, and resonance. Every object in the cabin, no matter how small, offers insight into the challenges he faced and the perseverance he showed in pursuing his art, despite adversity. Opening the cabin also raises awareness about the fragile nature of legacy. Art can endure indefinitely, but the physical spaces where history unfolded can vanish if neglected. By preserving Hank Williams's cabin, curators ensure that future generations can experience the environment that shaped one of country music's greatest icons. The cabin not only preserves his legacy, but also serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost behind creative brilliance. For fans, walking through the cabin is a deeply emotional journey. It evokes admiration for Hank's talent, empathy for his struggles, and a profound sense of loss for a life cut, tragically short at 29. The cabin encapsulates both the triumph and the tragedy of a man who gave the world timeless music while wrestling with personal demons. Ultimately, Hank Williams' abandoned cabin stands as a symbol of brilliance, resilience, and heartbreak. It reminds us that behind every legendary figure lies a human story filled with joy, pain, and sacrifice. By opening the cabin to the public, we are granted a rare and intimate glimpse into the life of a man whose songs continue to touch hearts, and whose life, though brief, left an indelible mark on the world.